Chapter 15. Take care of your environment so it can take care of you. Standing at the edge of the cliff, feeling my courage and confidence return, I called out, "Not leaving yet, you hear me? I'm just getting started down here." "Oh," moaned the zombie, prompting me to wave. "Come on over," I taunted, hoping to entice it into a death fall. "Come and get me." I tried some more waving, some more coaxing. I think I even tried dancing. Anything to trick it into taking one more step over the side. The ghoul just groaned a couple more times, then disappeared into the dark recess of its tunnel. "Of course," I said with a sarcastic shrug. "The one time one of you mobile meatloafs do something smart." With the mindset of a vigilant hunter instead of an awe-struck tourist, I made a mental note of every cave and shadow and possible enemy hiding place. I also noted every mineral deposit, every seam of coal and iron and... Is that iron? I squinted at the bottom of the canyon, right next to the lava lake, at a collection of metal-flecked rocks. They had to be iron. What else could they be? But their color just seemed a shade lighter than the orange ore I was used to. Situational awareness, I told myself, venturing back down the stairs. That's the official term, isn't it? Be aware of my surroundings. Reopening the entrance to the canyon floor, my eyes flicked frantically in all directions. Likewise, my ears scanned for any sounds beyond the bubbling of the lake. I stepped gingerly across the blackstone, shivering at the heat radiating up through my feet. One false step, one missed mob. Stopping well away from the edge, I strategized how best to get to the other side. Option 1 meant tunneling around, which meant possibly breaking through into more lava. Option 2 meant placing cobblestone along the side to create a walkway, which meant possibly falling or once again being pushed in. Do I risk it? Is it worth it? If I hadn't been so busy shuddering at any of these scenarios, if I hadn't been so traumatized by nearly being killed 10 minutes ago, I probably would have come to an option 3 a lot sooner. Standing on the blackstone with water behind me and lava in front, I realized the solution. "Water cools lava," I cried, eyes darting from one to the other. "Just throw water on it." I turned and started back for the tunnel entrance, then stopped with a shake of my head. Why go back when I've got everything I need here? Placing a new crafting table on the blackstone, I started to make a furnace, then jumped back as the crafting table promptly burst into flames. "Okay," I said as the table puffed into smoke. "Blackstone transmits heat. Thanks for that tidbit, world." Laying down a new layer of cobblestone, which, by the way, was a lot easier on my slowly baking feet, I soon had my ingots smelting. I then built a cobblestone staircase right up to the base of the waterfall and filled my new bucket. Then poured the liquid on the farthest blackstone block. It worked exactly as planned. The canyon around me darkened as lava cooled to shiny, solidified midnight. Well, I reassured myself, at least something good came from washing away my garden that time. Scooping up the water, I repeated the process 2 more times, then walked out on a warm but solid surface. "Let's see," I began, trotting over to the new, mysterious ore. "What are you?" Placing a torch on the wall, I gasped. "Gold!" The word glittered as brightly as the bounty before my eyes. Back in my world, it was the purest symbol of wealth. People wore it, hoarded it, killed for it. A plethora of terms were as embedded in our language as the rocks before my eyes. Gold rush, gold standard, golden opportunity, and now in my case, gold fever. "Mine," I breathed hypnotically, the word taking on a double meaning. "Mine!" Attacking the rocks like an enemy in battle, I picked furiously for the irresistible ore. 2, 3, 4, 5. As the 6th gold flexstone fell away, I gasped at what lay behind it. These freckles were lighter, whitish blue, and sparkled like the stars. "Oh my," I whispered as a few swing freed the lustrous, finely cut gems. "Diamonds!" Minutes later, I was rushing up to the surface, bars of gold in one hand and a collection of diamonds in the other. I'm rich, I trumpeted, dancing my victory dance across the meadow. The animals just looked at me for a minute, then went back to gobbling grain. Don't you understand? I asked, waving the wealth at them. Don't you know what this means? Moo snorted with a sidelong glance. Yes, well, I tried to blow her a response. Well, I know I can't buy anything on this island with it, but just look at it. Look how beautiful, how useful. Running over to the crafting table, I shouted. I mean, if iron is stronger than stone, then... I held up the glinting golden helmet. See? Moo, countered the cow, forcing me to compare the two headpieces. True, the golden model looked prettier, but the metal itself seemed flimsier, softer and less likely to protect me than iron. Yeah, well, probably won't make that much of a difference, I argued, refusing to admit she was right. Going back to the crafting table, I placed the 2 diamonds I gathered above a single stick, and came away with the hardest, sharpest, most dazzling sword you can imagine. Ha! I belted. What do you say to this? Moo didn't say anything, and neither did the 2 parent sheep. At least I got an agreeable baa from Rainy. Told you this stuff was valuable, I strutted, marveling at the flashing blade. Move over, Protector, I said, packing away the obsolete iron cutlass, because it's time for flash. Swaggering back to the hill, I called over my shoulder. Who knows what else I can make with more diamonds and gold? Weapons, armor, maybe even new devices I hadn't thought of yet. These were all just justifications for the desires driving my feet. I'd fallen victim to a lot of things on this island. Hunger, fear, sleep deprivation, and now greed. We're in the money, I sang, recalling a tune much older than me. La-da-dee-dee-dee. Stepping down into the cave, I might have continued to saunter carelessly into the gloom, but thought I saw a figure up ahead. Not a zombie or skeleton. It was dressed head to toe, in black with a tall hat, and to my great excitement, had healthy, normal skin. It was a person. Hey, I shouted, sheathing my sword and running forward. I'm not alone anymore. I've got company. Getting close enough to touch, I babbled. Where'd you come from? How'd you get here? What's your... Glass shattered across my armor, the shards of a bottle thrown by my new friend. Suddenly, my body slowed, my limbs feeling like lead. Wow, I slurred as a second bottle broke across my face. Nausea, pain, poison, blood burning, lungs squeezing. I fumbled clumsily for my weapons. Ha ha ha, cackled my foe, actually taking pleasure in my suffering. This wasn't a dumb beast acting on pure instinct. This being could think, could feel, could choose to do me harm. This was what my world judged as evil. Which, I mumbled, as another bottle appeared in its hand. My diamond blade flashed. The witch tottered back. Fighting through waves of dizziness, I cut the laughter into smoke. Food! But my pack was empty. In my mad rush for riches, I'd totally forgotten to restock. Something was hovering at the witch's final resting place. Sugar? Snatching up the little white pile, I staggered up to the surface. Snap. A second battle, the one within my body. Snap. Poison versus hyperhealing. Snap. Would I make it? Could I reach the surface in time? Crashing through invisible walls of agony, I stumbled back up into my bunker and over to the storage chest. Fish! The last 2 salmon went down just as the poison ebbed. Ugh, I groaned, slumping forward, cooling my face on the smooth rock wall. It took several moments for me to feel well enough to move again, and when my body did, my mind had still a long way to go. Are witches the only people in this world? You'll never guess, I said, shuffling out into the clean, crisp air of the meadow. What was down there? Moo, replied my friend sympathetically. Thanks for not judging me on this one, I said, twitching with the recent memory of pain. Reaching into my pack for the bucket, I added, and thanks for the milk as well. Topping off the pail, I crafted and filled 2 more. I hope this works well on poison as it did on zombie flesh. Moo, said my generous pal, no doubt seeing the troubled look on my face. No, you're right, I agreed. This wasn't just another battle with a new kind of mob. This was different. I paused to sift my feelings into words. This was so disheartening because, well, after all this time, I finally found someone like me. Moo, corrected the caring animal, with a distinction that made all the difference. Right again, I said with a nod. It wasn't like me. And it just looked like me, and just because someone looks like you doesn't automatically make them a friend. Growled my stomach, responding to the smell of the milk. Gotta finish healing, I said, and went inside for my fishing pole. Stepping out the back door, I noticed that 3 squares of wheat were ripe. 1 loaf should be enough to restore me, I thought. I was about to combine the 3 bushels when I noticed something I'd never had before. Remember way back when I tried to combine all my edible ingredients, like wheat and sugar and milk, into something, but for some reason it never seemed to work? And remember when I realized that the key to combining wheat was just more wheat? Well, now I not only had more wheat, but 2 lumps of sugar, 3 buckets of milk, and a baker's dozen's eggs. Maybe now, I said aloud, arranging them all on the crafting table. 4 seconds later, piece of cake! No, literally! Hovering in the ether was a light brown, frosted confection complete with little red sprinkles. I knew there had to be an answer, I told Moo, setting the large, round, yummy cylinder onto the ground. Yes, the ground. For some reason, you can eat a whole loaf of bread, but cake's gotta be eaten in slices. Go figure. I took 1 bite and let out a long, low, zombie-like mmm. Now, if you like desserts, and if you don't, there's something seriously wrong with you. Then imagine going without them for nearly a month. Imagine living on a diet of fish, bread, and carrots, none of them which had any spices in them, by the way, and suddenly biting into a slice of heaven. Oh, I groaned again, savoring the spongy, moist cake. You know, I said to Moo, this is the first sweet thing I've tasted since the word stuck in my mouth for a moment. Apples. Suddenly, the cake didn't taste so good. No amount of sugar could counter such bitter memories. They were so delicious, I confessed sadly. So crunchy and sweet, and I burned up the trees that could have made more. My mind flashed the accidental replanting of birch saplings, and how easily they could have been oaks. I'll never taste an apple again, I said, shaking my head. They're all gone forever, because I thought the saplings were worthless. I took off my gold hat and looked at it. Worth, I repeated to Moo. I think the word means how much you want something and how hard it is to get. I sure understand that meaning now, because I know that 1 apple is worth more than all the gold and the diamonds in the world. Moo, she sighed sympathetically. Thanks, buddy, I answered, but feeling bad about a mistake isn't enough. I've got to make sure I don't make the same mistake again. Turning to the rest of the animals, I announced, from now on, I'm dividing the island in half. From Disappointment Hill to the eastern beach is mine. I can change it, develop it, do whatever I like with it. But from the meadow to the western claw, the island belongs to itself. I'll put everything back the way I found it, fill every hole, replant every tree, and leave nothing but footprints when I'm done. To the cheers of moos and baas, I replied, we've got to take care of our environment so it can take care of us.